Hey everybody, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault, and today I'm coming to you with another range report. Today's range report is on the North Star Arms NS-15. This is a rifle that is on loan to the channel from one of my local subscribers who's also an FFL. He got this from one of his distributors. Supposedly they're new on the marketplace for civilian rifles, and it's a subsidiary of a company called Profense, which is a government contractor that makes firearms such as the minigun. So take that information for what it's worth. I don't know if that's actually going to translate into good civilian sales or good quality. But I was able to review this rifle, as you saw from the opening footage. The MSRP on this gun is supposed to be about $10.99. So while this is supposed to be an $1,100 rifle. So for me, it's kind of a plain Jane setup where you can kind of start. It gives you, I guess, a few features that are kind of nice, and then you can build up from this platform. Let me go over some of the specs of this, and then I'll talk about the range report, how it's shot, and my personal thoughts. It says it's in caliber .556, barrel length is 16 inches with a mid-length gas system with an H-bar profile barrel. Made of 4150 chrome molybdenum steel, so it's not 4140, so they do use an upgraded and hardened version of steel that you normally find in machine guns. The finish is QPQ, corrosion resistant. The furniture is Hogue 15 polymer grip with overmolded collapsible 6-position buttstock. The overall length is 36 inches and 33 inches with the stock collapsed. It has an ALG defense trigger in it. The twist rate is 1 in 7, and the overall weight is supposed to be 6.5 pounds. As it ships, it does not come with iron sights. I added these for the range review. This is my own personal set here. I do kind of think that for an $1,100 rifle, they should throw in a set of iron sights. Even if they're super cheap, you need to throw them in. I know a lot of people are going to probably put an optic on this thing, and this is kind of a starter set for, you know, really building up something nice. I think that the general components of this rifle are nice. I just think they should give you a little bit more in the box. So how did I think? How did this thing shoot? Well, it actually shot really, really well. I put about, 200 rounds through this thing at the range. The groupings were very, very, very tight. I felt that the overall recoil of the gun was very light. I really liked the mid-length gas system. I've never shot a mid-length gas system before, and I've read about all of the advantages. And I kind of feel like it made the gun a little bit more reliable. I do like that. So, performance-wise, I didn't have any hiccups, issues. It fed well, ejected well. I do have a few issues, though, with it. Number one, the magazine well. This is the supplied magazine here. It is made by D&H. And I did notice that when I was inserting the magazines, it's a little bit tight. And I discovered that was the same way on the P-Mags as well. I don't think the magazine wells are milled out to the same specs as you would find maybe on a Colt or Bushmaster. They go in kind of tight. You notice I have a little bit of a struggle getting the magazine in and out. If I push the button, it really doesn't drop free. And that is the case with all of the magazines. So that needs to be addressed. The handguard's very nice. Low profile handguard. You got all this Picatinny rail up top for optics and lights and whatever. You have M-locks on the side. I know that the thin handguards are kind of the hot thing. Everyone likes them. But when I shot this thing, about 100 rounds in, I started noticing the heat transfer from the barrel to the handguard. Now, I was not running any type of vertical foregrip or anything else on this. Maybe that would help, but I definitely started feeling the heat transfer. Not that the handguard got hot, but this is very open. I was definitely feeling the radiant heat from the barrel. That became very noticeable after about 100 rounds. So if I was going to go and do an extended range trip with this thing, I think that might actually get a little bit uncomfortable. The gun got kind of hot. So the magazine issue as well, as I mentioned. Oh yeah, there's a couple of other finish things that I noticed. Here when it came to the hammer pin, I guess maybe in the building process, the company had a little bit of an issue and maybe had marked the pinhole a little bit, and it looks like they either used aluminum black or some type of other kind of spot touch-up finish here. I don't know if this is going to come across here on the video or not, but it might look a little bit more glossy around this. It's definitely not oil, but they definitely had to touch up the finish. I kind of feel like if you're going to ask somebody to pay $1,100 for your rifle, which I think the street price on these things really is more like $899, so we'll say $100. You're not going to let that get through quality control. You would sell this pretty much as a scratch and dent or like a blemished gun. Not a big fan of that. I also feel like they could have put on some ambi controls. Now, as for the trigger in this thing, I know it says according to the specs it's an AGL trigger. I don't know if I necessarily believe them. The reason is the markings on this thing. Now, number one, on the trigger itself, there are no markings. It kind of looks like a stock, mil-spec parts kit. And the hammer here is marked with the double S. I forgot what that actually meant, but this thing looks like a stock, like parts kit from Colt. In fact, that's the same markings you would see on a standard Colt rifle as well. So I don't know if this is necessarily an AGL or ALG defense trigger. I see no markings that would indicate that. So to me, it looks like it's a regular mil-spec kit, but I could be completely wrong on that. The lower receiver is milled out to have an AR-15 style of profile here. So it's not the nice big open M16 type of a cut, but you do have some bigger walls here on the side to prevent an auto sear from going in, but it does not have the Colt kind of ledge in there, which is nice, I guess. The bolt carrier is a full auto cut bolt carrier, which is nice as well. The gas key is staked in really nice, so I'm happy with that. It seems like they took some time and quality with that. It is chrome plated inside as well. So this rifle offers some nice stuff, but I do have a few issues with it. It's kind of a plain Jane gun that I guess would be a great start of a very nice build to upgrade. You already get a pretty good barrel, it seems like. Lowers, okay, maybe I'd have to check, and this is only a one-off, so I don't have multiple of these guns to tell you if the magazine well issue is across the board or it's only this particular example, and I also can't tell you about this little blemish or other like little imperfections that are on the lower. They're not deal breakers, they're not bad, and are not going to affect the function of the firearm. But they do kind of bother me a little bit, especially if I was paying something close to full-on retail, like I see on Gunbroker with these. The furniture on this, I'm not a huge fan of. Now, I know I may make some people upset when I say this. I've never really been a fan of Hogue grips. Not that they make poor quality stuff, it's just never felt good in my hand. The Hogue grip here has a steeper angle than you would traditionally see on an AR-15. And I'm not a big fan of this stock either. It seems weird that this latch that opens and closes the telescoping option here on the stock, it's kind of cut out a little bit, so when I grab onto it, my fingers get pinched a little bit. Now, that is not North Star Arms' fault. That's Hogue's design. I think I would prefer to have kind of the standard mag pull, but maybe they're trying to be a little bit different. But I might prefer maybe something a little bit more traditional M4, especially if this is going to be a gun that's going to be kind of a starter gun that you're going to add on to. You just put on a standard A2 grip and an M4 stock, save the money, and let the end user build upon it and change those parts out to whatever they want. But going with the Hogue, I think it's going to increase the price a little bit, and I don't know if it's, as I said, they're necessarily my favorite, especially this grip angle. I do like more of the traditional A2 style and angle of the grip. So overall, it shot well. Let me show you also what you get in the box, which is kind of a no frills package here. You do get one magazine. This is the magazine that came with the gun. You do get this big box here. It says North Star Arms. And let me tell you, what's in this box? Nothing. You get some paperwork, and that's it. You get paperwork, magazine, and gun. So it comes pretty, oh, there we go. Hit my head there, but pretty bare bones. That's it, and all the paperwork is right here, and that little flap. That's all you get. So I think they're kind of asking kind of a premium for this rifle. They're asking like Colt AR-15 prices for a new company that a lot of people may not know, and they're not really giving you a lot of options with it. I kind of feel like, personally, now I am in no way disparaging North Star Arms. I think that their product is pretty good. I think they might be asking a little bit too much for it. I'm kind of curious where they get their price point. I definitely think that you can get something maybe close to this, you know, as nice from Palmetto State for a little bit cheaper. But it seems to be decent quality, but I do have those issues. This is not a gun that I would necessarily buy after shooting it. As I said, the magwell issue is a huge issue for me because the magazine does not drop free, and it worked on all. I had the same issue on all the magazines I use, either be Magpool, I use a Colt Mag, and the magazine that they provided. And it doesn't come with iron sights, but the other stuff seems to be decent quality. You have the proper forgings on this. The aluminum forging seems to be really nice. They mark their lowers pretty nice. I don't know if this is going to come across on camera. The laser engraving is nice. Looks pretty good. But yeah, for what it is, I guess one of my big gripes would be the price. So there you go. So that's my issues with it. The magazine, the price, the blemishes, and the heat of the barrel. But it shot well. It seemed to be very reliable. When I was using it, had no problems and shot very, very tight groups. So how do I rank this gun on my little scale of 0 out of 5 stars? Well, I'm only going to give this rifle 3.5 stars out of 5. Does it work? Yes. Is it pretty attractive for what it is? Yeah, I like the handguard. Yeah, okay. Performance, excellent. But I just have too many issues that if I'm paying in the almost $1,000 price point for an AR-15, I'm not going to be expecting to have these issues. This is some issues that I would expect to have in the $500 to $600 AR range. But now we have so many companies that are competing for our business in the AR-15 market, I think you can get a very high quality $600 AR-15. So there you go. That's my thoughts on this thing. Not the greatest review of all time, but I'm just trying to get this information out here, and it's so cool that I got to shoot a rifle that not a lot of people have talked about here on YouTube that has hit the market, and maybe you've heard about them or seen them on Gun Broker. So there you go. The North Star Arms NS-15 rifle. Is it worth picking up? Only you would know. My personal opinion is get a chance to shoot it first, get to handle one, and see if the issues that I talk about are in your particular example. I only have an example of one. So this might be just a rare item, and all the other ones are absolutely fantastic with the most beautiful finish you've ever seen, and the magwells are all milled out correctly. But there you go. For me, 3.5 stars out of 5, and one of the big downsides, of course, is the overall price point. I definitely think if this was going to be your only AR-15 rifle, you'd be just fine with it. And you have a lot of options of adding on to it and creating the gun that you really want, because you already have a great barrel, good upper, nice bolt carrier, and I guess a pretty decent trigger, but I'm not 100% sure it's ALG or AGL defense. I can't remember what it is. But yeah, there's just no markings on it, and the markings look like the same ones that would be on my stock Colt rifles. So there you go, the North Star Arms NS-15 rifle. So do you guys have any experience with this company? I'd be interested in hearing your thoughts in the comments section below. So as always, thanks for watching.